Hi and welcome. Today's topic would be called authenticity and wholeness, that we all have to be authentic and whole. Like it says in the Chassidus Forum, La'avit Hashem Yisborach, you should be a servant for Hashem, but not a servant for yourself. And they learn it in the Pasuk. Chassidus teaches it in the word which we read actually in the Seder last week, Lo yisasin kein l'Hashem. You shouldn't do just so for Hashem. That means that it's not possible to praise Hashem and be a servant for Hashem in a different way. And I will explain it to you with a story from the great tzaddik Moshe Leib Sassover. Moshe Leib Sassover once came in to shul to davening Friday night, Kabbalah Shabbos, and before Kegavnu he walked out, and everybody looked, where is he going? And they stopped, and he walked out. Intuitively, he felt that there is another Jew in pain, and he went, obviously with, he went to Shreimel and in Beketche, and he would look face as a Rebbe, looking as a Rebbe, and they had the Rebbe looking, so he was not just the regular person on the street. And he heard that there was a Jew that was tied up together by the call of the parrot, which was at that time the people that used to own the properties, and he didn't pay the rent, and they took him in their wagon, they tied him up, and who knows what they wanted to do with him. They were hitting him. And the parrots and the priest, means the husband and wife that owns all those properties, and their child were driving in that coach with the horse and wagon, and they were approaching Moshe Leib Sassover, and they saw him. They said, "Oh, this is a great Rabbino, and they want to get a blessing." And he went, and he took their child and kissed it and hugged it and did whatever he needed. And then he asks a question: "What is that person sitting in the back tied up?" "Oh, he didn't pay the rent, and we are." Says, "Oh, it's not nice for such people like you to do something. You're much higher caliber than that. Let him go. Make with him a payment plan. We'll work it out." And they let him go. Then he went back to shul. When he went back to shul, and he wanted to say Kegavnu, and he says, "Hashem, how can this mouth say Kegavnu that kissed a non-Jew at the moment, actually Rishonim, which they were actually wicked people. You saw what they wanted to do. And how can I say Kegavnu? But this is what Hashem wanted. This is what I'm going to do." So what was higher? What do we see? He changed his method, and even though sometimes we have to do things that is not looking appropriate, but we're doing it to save a Jew. That means La'avit Hashem Yisborach. You have to do it with the real authenticity and wholeness because of Hashem, and not to do it for your own thing. The Maral says, peace is when one knows his place and tries to fulfill his own purpose. We say in Yom Kippur, my God, before I was created, I did not exist. Eine Kedai, it says. V'achshav, that I was created, is as I was not created. Rav Kook teaches in this pasuk a beautiful explanation. And he says, before I was created, I wasn't needed. But now that I'm created, I am needed for a specific purpose. Therefore, this means I am I and you is you. And it's always very, very important to know who is the I and what is the I. And the you, the someone else, has a different job and a different thing. There's no comparison. And there's another thing that actually also that I saw from Rav Kook, an amazing thing, which is a Gemara Masechtes Ma'ula 14a, and he says, and by building the Beis Hamikdash, it says, because they came to ask him, how come you're Makarev and these Jews that are non-religious, that are building at that time, after the war, they're building the Israel and the state of Israel, Eretz Yisrael, but how come through them, and why through them? So he said exactly what it was said in the Gemara when they were building the Beis Hamikdash. And this is what we have to do, and we are doing, the ones especially that are in TP. He answered a beautiful thing. Boinim b'chol v'achar mekatchem. That means the Gemara teaches us we're building such a holy temple for Hashem, and does he need all this gold, all this silver, all this beautiful tapestry? This is mundane. This is what Hashem needs. He says, with all this money, yes, we are building with mundane stuff, but afterwards we will make it holy. And that is our job, especially when we have children, that sometimes we have to do a different method and it doesn't look the right way when it's in crisis. That is the method. And I'll tell you another story that happened once, that the Getter Rebbe, the Imre Emes, once met Rav Kook, and he became very close with him at their first visit, and saw what a great person he is. And that was the first time they met back in 14. He was very inspired by him. And then he took him back with the car, didn't let him go by himself, back to his house where he was staying. And he says, this is called the Hanin Valley. They were going in the old city. And part of the discussion was also about the building of the new state and who was building. You know that Rav Kook was Makar of all Jews. He didn't differentiate, actually just like Rav Nachman did. And he said on himself that he was Nishmas Rav Nachman. And he always found in the Kid the Toive as Rav Nachman. You always see in both of their Torahs so much similarities. And he said, on this valley is where they were makrev their children for the moilech, which we read in the Pasha a week or 2 weeks ago. And today it's no more. So what did he want to bring out? Let's look at the Nekida Toiva, at the good, what we do see, and what will happen. So this is very important. People should know. You have to know who is the you, who is the I, what is the mission, what is your tafkid, what is your purpose of life. And also, I also would say a parable. Sometimes, people think, I'm ashamed with this child. I am, or I can, even we have a good child, all of them are good. Or meaning to say, I can say something good about, feel good because this is my child. We have to think and picture that we are just like a limousine driver. Imagine the limousine driver driving his big car. He cannot be ashamed of the car or be grateful for the car because he's only a driver. We are only drivers, and Hashem gives us the vehicles to drive, and that's what we do. Shall we have a beautiful Nu Chodesh, Ani Ledoidi V'Doidi Li. It means Rachmim, to bring down, and we should all have a great month preparing ourselves for Hashuna Toiva, Ksiva V'Chsima Toiva.